Hey guys, my name's Nick and this is OnGo Racing. Okay, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff here, mainly to deal with the LS's GM products and kind of how-to videos. I'm going to be doing some tech tips and a lot of just kind of what we have experienced and little things here and there of what's worked out well for us. So my name's Nick, as I said before, and we're going to have my buddy Brandon helping us. And you'll see Cody here working on his engine and a lot of stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoy. This is my first video, so let's have a good time. Okay, I'm going to introduce the first vehicle of the channel. It's one vehicle standing right behind me. It's a 97 Chevy pickup. We don't really have a name for it. Everybody calls it tons of different things. So bare bones wise, it is an LS because we're basic, and it's got a big turbo on it because it was cheap. And had a couple little things done to it here and there. We have a simple setup. So got the bull horns on there, and we just did flip manifolds. Sorry about the lighting, we're working on that. And we did put a cage in it that me and Brandon built. Simple roll bar, nothing crazy, with a set of cheap seats. Stock dash, not gutted very much, like the doors are gutted and stuff like that, but still really heavy, which is kind of what we want, especially with the no prep that we plan on doing with it. It's got a cap on it because street car. Some things that we did do to it that's a little bit kind of crazy is that we gutted the back with the cage. We did put a fuel cell in it, relocated the battery. It's nothing fancy. It's got a freaking G-Van aluminum drive shaft, which only blew the last one up, so hopefully this one works. No Calitrac bars, just slapper bars. If you look down there, they're just remade slapper bars that I got from a antique store that was shutting down. And yeah, nothing crazy. We're changing a couple things on it right now. Obviously it's winter where we are, and just doing some minor upgrades to the motor. Quick rundown on the motor. 243 cylinder heads, LS9 cam, just some head bolts and rod bolts. It's a Gen 4 rodded motor. It was literally sitting on the shelf at my work for, I don't know, 5-6 years, and put her together kind of on the cheap. It started to be on the cheap, and now, well, it's escalating to being more money than I was expecting, but that's normal. Just like everything else. So that's the introduction of the truck. I wish I had some better videos of it doing burnouts and at the drag strip and all that stuff, but we'll get there when we get there. So yeah, that's the truck. Okay, we're going to start off by doing a little comparison of some stock springs versus some aftermarket springs. Two different types, kind of generic. No, I don't really have the numbers. I have numbers of the one, but we'll go from there. Here we go. So we'll start off with the stock spring. They're not a bad spring to begin with. Depending on what engine it came from, obviously LS engine. This came from Luna Block 5.3. I tested these, which are the same ones on my 5.3 that's in there right now, and they're pretty much what they call an LS6 spring, which is a 90-pound spring. And then this is the one upgrade, which a lot of guys are running. It's a pack spring, so if you see, it does sit a little taller. It's kind of the only really comparison that I do see, or the only difference. I mean, obviously this is thinner and this is a little bit thicker, so it can be a little bit more lift. And then these are the PSI performance springs that'll be running. So they are a polished valve spring with chromoly retainers, And yes, you need to run a chromoly retainer with this spring for some reason. It's just a taller sitting spring, and it allows for a lot more lift. And that's kind of the simple comparison of them. Now these are obviously all beehive springs. Now they're not dual springs, but if you were running a dual spring, you'd need something like that for the dampener. Which in my case, I'm just going to run stock seals. So let's get to putting them in. I do have a tool for installing them. It was not very expensive, if I can find it. It's just a simple tool. I think I got it off Wish or something along the lines of that. And it seems to work good on the car. It's nothing crazy or expensive. Now, there's obviously other tools. I don't think I have one here, but it's more of just a simple plate style, which does the exact same as this. A buddy of mine is actually making them, and he seemed to do a pretty good job of it. Let's whip this valve cover off, if I can get it off here. Just had one by one bolt. So this engine's pretty clean inside. It's nothing crazy. I'm not sure if you can see that with the lighting. So ideally, the whole point of this is to place this on here. Obviously, you need the rocker cradle on there. Maybe I'll get you some more light here for a second. You're gonna need the rocker cradle. My lighting in my shop's not the greatest. Keep that in mind. So this goes on here, obviously, and then this goes on here and gets bolted in there, and then essentially you just grab your wrench, put it in that hole, if you can see it, just a square 3/8, and you pry her down, and that compresses the spring enough to get a magnet in there to get the keepers out. And then since you just do the reverse process, and you install them. Now I'm going to be bringing my engine to TDC on for each 2 sets I'm going to do. So intake and exhaust. I'm going to be doing. Bringing the engine up to TDC, just so that if the valve drops in or whatever, and like, you just don't want the valve dropping all the way down into the cylinder, because then you screwed up pretty big, and then you got to pull the head off and whatnot. Not that it's the complete end of the world, but something that'll set you back a lot. Now a lot of times these seals will hold this valve up pretty darn good to begin with, but I wouldn't recommend risking it. So I'm going to do this side, and then I'll show you the results after. Okay, I'm on the second one here. That's what she looks like installed. Okay, let's continue on, and I'll give you an idea kind of what's going on with it. So one thing I was doing, I was kind of hitting right here with a rubber mallet just to break free the keepers. It kind of works okay. These ones are pretty fresh, so they're stuck in there pretty good. So you're going to want to take your tool, place a tool on here, tighten her down. I'm not going to be able to do it the whole thing because, well, it takes like 2 hands to do. And grab your ratchet here, and essentially you push down like this, and see how they release? Keepers are released, and then you're going to get them out with a magnet. Now obviously I can't do that because I only have 2 hands, so let's get those out. Okay, I got the keepers out, but as you see, that's kind of the concept. Once the keepers are out, take your wrench, your ratchet away, lift up that, and then you got the spring with the retainer. Place it to the next one. I'm going to grab your springs here, and then I have my retainers buried in the box. Place your spring on first, then your retainer. Sorry, the first thing you're going to want to do here is pull up on the valve. So something that a lot of people get scared of, and it's going to show a good close-up view here. Hear that? If you have the piston at TDC, the valve's not going to go anywhere. So a lot of people get scared and think it's going to fall in and all that stuff, and it will fall in if you don't have it at top dead center. But it's not going to fall in at this point because there's nowhere for it to go. So you place your spring, your retainer, you clamp that down. The thing you'll do is kind of offset this up, and as you clamp it down, it'll swing down into place. All finished. At least what they look like, all in there. Don't look too bad. They're all shiny. Looks race car-ish. Our lighting got marginally better thanks to Brandon.
Yep.
So, yeah. So that's kind of a easy rundown on how to install valve springs on your LS engine when the engine's in the car, or even you could probably do it when the heads are on the engine stand. So yeah, cool. See you guys later.